Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dogbo333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, The New Order as the United Mexican States. In the last video, we started working on consolidating group support in the Kabuki crisis. The Industrialists has supported Ordaz, which isn't the best, but it's not supporting Selena, so it's not the worst either. We're currently ahead with the Industrialists, and we're pretty far ahead with the workers, although Ordaz is picking up there, so we do want to be careful about that. We'll save up for a bit and firm pact commitments coming up, I think. But yeah. Flexing the establishment actually would have been good to get on earlier, perhaps, but, I mean, what are we going to do there? Just gotta keep on keeping on. Speaking of keeping on, probably keep on reading, although I think have I read this before? I don't think I've read Morelia, so let's read Morelia. The city of Morelia is nestled within mountains just beside the Tierra Caliente, a lower altitude region of Mexico known for its hot climate. Founded by conquistadors making their way westwards in 1541, over the centuries have slowly become a hub of modernization. The city reached its peak in prosperity and importance in the late 19th century, but the importance will be shattered by the conflagrations of the early 20th century. The city was taken by the Maderistas in 1911, but by 1914, it had fallen to the dictatorship. The city was sacked and burned, precipitating its gradual decline. Morelia remained a source of conflict after the end of the revolution. During the Cristero War, the city was a hot spot where Cristero forces fought the federal army in endless clashes. Despite its relative decline, the city remains a land of historic importance. With a large student population, there are stirrings of a youth movement beginning here in Morelia. As disillusioned young grow, it remains to be seen whether this conflict will remain a part of Morelli's history forever. We'll just have to wait and see, won't we? Let's continue on, regardless of whatever conflicts may come up. Let's get some more management going. And how are we doing with our gold conflict? As the evening dragged on, an exhausted Ordaz read through the latest of several San Luis Potosi police reports regarding the Nava situation. Standing over his shoulder behind him and comparatively chipper Madrazo read his own copy on the day's events. More sit-ins, more strikes, protests. The list just keeps getting longer. Ordaz gruntles, pointing to a segment in the bottom half of the second page. You see this part? Nava is threatening to shut down all rail lines in the region with his union goons. He gets up and walks over to the phone on the other side of the room. Negotiations can come later. I'm calling the police there now and giving them the orders. Wait, Ordaz. You have us all backwards. Whatever you tell them, keep it light for now. If we crack down now, the people will go wild. Driver gestures out the window towards the city. However, if you let me negotiate first, the people will see an attempt at dialogue and reason. Let's try to avoid bloodshed for now, shall we? Ordaz put the phone down, thinking about his colleague's line of reasoning. As much as he would love to rid the problem child in its infancy, the government was already on thin ice with the Kabuki crisis as is. He reluctantly agrees. Alright, diplomacy first then. Ordaz shakes hands with Madrazo, giving him a cold stare. But if nothing promising comes of this soon, tough calls will have to be made. Ask questions first, shoot later. Not very popular right now, which is a little unfortunate. Let's affirm some pact commitments. The infantry hits ready. Ordaz and Madrazo step out of the car, stretching their limbs in front of the after near 10-hour car ride to San Luis Potosi. The local airport had been out of operation for weeks because of the strikes. Your nose is bleeding. Madrazo relief is interrupted by Ordaz. Must be the altitude. Damn it. In lieu of any kind of doctor, the governor uses his handkerchief to wipe up the blood. In any case, Mr. Nava has made his demands loud and clear, that being the removal of the existing governor. Madrazo could see Ordaz fuming already. Something that cannot be done. Exactly. His demands are simply too large, which is why his movement must be clamped down upon. Madrazo gives a cautious look, though lets Ordaz elaborate. We show the power we have over him. His demands might shift to something more amenable. Ordaz, while I'm happy you're at least open negotiations, Nava isn't even at the table yet. A token of goodwill is needed, Madrazo said. They arrived at the local pre-headquarters. Ordaz looked confused. A token of goodwill? Their token is the fact that the DFS hasn't shot Nava yet. All I propose is a legal permit for their protests to continue. Nothing more. That should at least bring him to the negotiation table. President Lopez Mateos will wait for results and decision to be made. A token of goodwill is required. Madrazo's wins out. Let's do some support equipment. In the meanwhile, like we're supporting Senor Madrazo. His attempts to become a tapado. We're filling out the bottom. Next, let's plug in the gaps. Despite the distrust many felt towards the Japanese corporations, there were still large employers of Mexican workers. Their absence has already been felt, with many workers now left unemployed and desperate for new jobs. The administration and the party agree that there is a necessity to fill this hole. Though Madrazo and Ordaz, as usual, disagree on how. Ordaz wishes to invite the American corporations to take the place of the Japanese and give Mexico closer ties to the American government, now unbound from the threat imposed by Japanese economic influence. At the same time, Madrazo wants to keep things local, seeing an opportunity to grow local Mexican businesses, also deepening ties to the rest of Latin America by inviting some of their companies. Whatever the case, both sides agree that either option is undoubtedly an improvement from the Japanese. The meeting between Salvador Nava and Carlos Madrazo has a twisted sense of irony. Not at all lost to the participants. On the one side, there's Nava, former pre-populist, a man who worked within the system to best represent its people. Now he is the party's main adversary at the moment. Political outsider leading a coalition on behalf of the oppressed and disgruntled in his state to overturn an election he claims to have won. On the other side is Carlos Madrazo, a man who long ago involved himself with radical communists that were at many points at odds with the PRI. Now a party man who leads the party's delegation to negotiate an end to the protest. The governor sits down and presents his offer. Nava, as I'm sure you expected, we cannot simply overturn an election like this and oust a sitting governor. The precedent that would be set would simply be untenable for long-term stability of our country and the revolution. Nava sits quietly, knowing Madrazo didn't just come to give him nothing. However, Madrazo was given a manila folder. So it is manila, okay. Handing it across the table to him. We can promise the integrity of future elections through initiatives such as an electoral anti-corruption agency and specialized watchdogs. If you step down. As he glanced through the mock-ups, Nava already spots many holes in the offer. Lack of true independence, misplaced funding, overreach. This was a mostly token, worthless policy. However, it can be a step in the right direction, albeit small. He closes the folder. I'll have to look over this with my team. We must win over the DFS, otherwise they will arrest Nava. Alright, well, the industrialists have supported us. That's actually pretty huge. The car slinked its way towards the presidential residence. Ordaz with his jaw held tight as he thought about their meeting, while Madrazo sat silent on the opposite end of the car. There are particular sectors of the economy, the manufacturing sector in particular, which were in desperate need of investment after the Japanese had to retract much of their investment. The problem? They only have so much money to spend, and the American Mexican companies were fighting bitterly over the spoils in hopes of coming out on top. Ordaz and Madrazo made it clear in their insinuations for business leaders as to who they preferred. The car last pulled up along the driveway, and the two of them stepped out of the hot Mexican sun just as Mateo stepped out to greet them. "Welcome, gentlemen." I hope the meeting was a success. Mateos gave him a brief smile before waving for them to join him on a walk through the gardens. As they did, Mateos continued. "They understand that we will be investing in the manufacturing sector in particular. Correct?" "Your Excellency," Madrazo replied as Ordaz pursed his lips. And they understood, yes, but the American business leaders made clear that they wished for more investment than the Mexican business leaders. Oh, damn, these same guys. And the same was true for the Mexican companies. If we were to do as the Americans want, then they would make us look like we are selling out our country for easy money. And if we did as the Mexican business orders want, Ordaz added, we'd be ignoring valuable investment that could reinvigorate our economy. Reluctantly, we must be prudent. Mateos frowned as he heard this and gave brief thoughts as to how best to respond. But when it came to him, it seemed the only natural answer. The independence of our economy is essential. Our companies will take precedent. We already have a fair bit of influence already. I don't want to, Well, actually, I don't know how you tell influence, really. Cayenne, Japan, interesting. Okay, we'll get some more political power, and then we'll affirm the Article 123. Okay, so this is actually going to be kind of tough to figure out. Madrazo, if we invite corporations from America and Canada back to replace the Japanese ones, we'll be able to get the workers back working sooner rather than later. Alongside, fill the gap remain behind by them more effectively so employment levels don't remain as high as long as they would if we went with your idea. That, and we'll be able to receive more income and taxes generated by the companies. Not to mention that'll help our partners' relations with our two neighbors up north. Ordaz looked up at his partner from the sheet of paper he's been reviewing. Madrazo faced the man before trying to get his point across again. And what I'm saying, Ordaz, is that if we instead focus on the small people of Mexico, by that I mean the ejidos, small businesses and slightly bigger medium ones, we'll be able to give all of that to our own people here in Mexico. Along with that, by emphasizing tourism, we'll be able to bring capital from all around the world to here in Mexico. They'll even revitalize sectors of our economy if there's enough tourists and cash flowing around. Lopez Mateos watched the two having their pseudo-dispute, as he considered both of their suggestions on how to handle the exodus of the Japanese companies. Ordaz's plan would fill the vacuum left by the exodus so there would be no worry of stability, along with improving relations. On the other hand, Madrazo's keep it here idea was something that could create a boon for the economy, given that it all pays back dividends and doesn't fail. Now it was the matter of choosing which one to go with. Madrazo is correct, even if it's a risk that must be taken. Okay, so I want to check something real quick. So this will take 14 days, but we'll get double the extra PP. Let's do it. Okay, we'll be okay with the workers, I think. The DFS I'm worried about, but we'll have time to figure it out. We'll get emergency relief package going as well, as long as a lot of political power. While freezing rents and lowering interest rates have helped mitigate the current economic crisis, there's broad consensus within the party that these measures alone are not sufficient, and that direct stimulus is required to bolster the economy and provide immediate relief to ordinary Mexicans. However, when it comes to the specifics of it now, this direct aid should be implemented, a clear divide emerges. The majority favors a straightforward approach of distributing checks directly to individuals, providing an immediate financial injection to those affected by the crisis. In contrast, a significant faction led by Madrazo advocates for a more comprehensive approach. They view this crisis as an opportunity to initiate structural reforms to Mexico's social services. Their goal is not only to provide immediate relief, but also to establish a robust support system for citizens, both in times of crisis and during periods of relative stability. Their perspective emphasizes long-term improvements, aiming to transform this moment of crisis into an opportunity for enduring societal change. Well, there we go. Alright, we got the workers. We got the worker. Well, we got the industrialists. I think the workers will follow. Which doesn't entirely connect immediately, but it holds up. I don't like how our preparedness is decreasing, but... Oh, Jesus. The tension is critical. What the fuck happened? How's the Kabuki effect going? Still need to get rid of that little bit of poverty, but... shit. There goes Mr. Suzuki. Can the corporate state survive? Only time will tell there, I guess. I'll send these guys to the border of Guatemala. Why not? Alright, so... let's make a why the fuck do they prefer Ordaz now? What? Excuse me? What the fuck happened? Look away for... oh, fuck, okay. Okay, I gotta load the autosave and try to salvage. I only have a few days. There goes Suzuki. That's a fucking lie. Okay, Jesus, okay. I don't want to cheat, but 5 days. Strengthen 123. Problem strengthening Article 123 to ensure the safety and well-being of the working class. Go. Also risk revolutionary rhetoric for now, because we need that extra boost. And then from here, monitor their paper trail a little bit more. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay. It was like night and day, and Nava reflected afterwards. When Ordaz invited him to lunch, it was like being splashed repeatedly with cold water. The man couldn't even be bothered to hide his demands behind nice words, the way it might have been done north of the border. With his donkey-like face, though Nava wisely kept that comparison to himself, all Ordaz could be bothered to do was threaten permanent expulsion from the party, in the absence of total compliance with his demands. Staying calm, Neva kept his own counsel and considered Ordaz's rudely phrased demands. He was then spirited away by another group of flunkies to the other side of the city. By the time Nava had made it to the next restaurant, it was evening. Madrazo was Nava's host. After initial greetings, Madrazo asked, "How you doing?" Then waited for Nava's response, saying nothing more. Nava sipped his water and resisted the urge to pinch himself. Why was Madrazo acting like someone who wanted to hear him out? I'm a bit amused, Governor. No demands, no directives, no exchange of opinions. That simply isn't my style, Neva. Just spit out how things are going, and then tell me what it is you're worried about. Squelching his incredulity, Nava did as Madrazo said. Madrazo, in turn, heard him out. As Nava speared away from the back door of a diner, he almost felt like he made the right decision. Not quite any port in the storm. While the worker supporters ensuring the DFS's support is still just as vital as before. Yeah, shit, okay. Let's crack down on subversive elements. Stop Salinas from making moves. Let's rein the DFS as well. I think that's probably for the best. Oh, Jesus. Critical tensions, what the shit. Joint civil military government Santo Domingo is negotiating the terms of peaceful reunification with the Dominican Revolutionary Front. Should tensions not escalate, they are anticipated to succeed in terms favorable to U.S., Mexico, and Cuba. Well, tensions are critical right now, so, and, yeah, they, okay, never mind. The Dominican city of Puerto Plata was electric, with celebratory zeal from the common man to the highest politicians. One of the many beautiful beaches that dot the city's coast, Lopez Mateos stands with General Pupo Roman and Fidel Castro as they watch their ships of legionnaires return to Cuba depart from the harbor. Like one of the American cowboy movies, the victorious legion rides into the sunset. Deep reds and yellows splash across the blue ocean like fireworks cascading across the sky. All along the coast, Dominicans cheer and enjoy celebrations. They drink in the streets. Some ascend on the former Trujillista jail that overlooks the sea, the Fortaleza San Felipe. Many take the beach itself. Mateos looks at the sand and sea and people jealously. Deep down, he wishes he could rip off his suit and join them, to splash and play in a way befitting of the joy of the day. Instead, he let their display fill his heart. He never thought he'd stand the Dominican Republic, let alone one freed from Trujillo's tyranny. Mateos turns to Roman with a tear in his eye. Thank you, General, for inviting me to join you for this historic moment. I will hold on to this memory deeply. You're too kind. You deserve to be here. Roman gripped the Mexican president's arm in a handshake. Thank you. The Republic will not be liberated. I will not walk freely on this beach without Mexico's aid. Mateos pulled Roman's handshake into a hug. They embraced as warmly as two male politicians could. In the distance, news cameras flashed to capture the friendship of nations and the freedom to be happy. Now, Your Excellency, I believe an exquisite dinner has been prepared for us. That sounds nice. Mateos looked back to the kaleidoscopic horizon. But give me 10 minutes. I wish to watch the sunset. Soon, a new day will dawn for the Dominican Republic. There we go. More loyalty and power for the intelligentsia. Lopez Mateos' stress decreases, which I still don't know what that means, but more carnies to popularity and just general pre-popularity. Very nice. Intelligentsia is actually fully loyal, which is interesting. Pupo Roman's joint civil military government in Santo Domingo has reached an accord with the Dominican Revolutionary Front, made up of men and women of the Caribbean Legion and other distant movements such as the June 14th movement. The front will be recognized for their role in overthrowing the Trujillo regime. As far as will be allowed to remain as demobilized citizens in the Dominican Republic or travel with their arms to Cuba. The safety of those staying guaranteed by the presence of peacekeepers from the Organization of American States. The OS has also had the duty of overseeing free elections to be held in coming months. Mexico, Cuba, the U.S., and the other democracies of Latin America have applauded the victory of this popular front against fascism, while European powers decry the entrenchment of leftist forces in Hispaniola. Long live the liberators. Hey, Franco, or Salazar. Cope. Seethe. Mauled. Okay, what do we want here? Under the orders of President Lopez Mateos, his government was to craft an economic package with stated goal of aiding the less fortunate members of Mexican society in the midst of the Kabuki effect. Tasked with creating said package, Madrazo and Ordaz were once again working into the early hours of the morning, hashing out the details of a new policy initiative. Given the gulf between the two men's political demeanors, this process was arduous, to say the least. I know what you're going to say, Gustavo. We must be practical with this. We cannot afford to go too far. Well, to hell with that. This is a real opportunity. A chance to not only starve off the current crisis, but to be prepared with the poor and jobless for the hardships of the future. What we build should last, a fund that can become the backbone of Mexican social safety net for years to come. I do not think I need to remind you that you are not president, Carlos, Ordaz retorted. His Excellency's task was providing aid to the current crisis, not reshaping the economy. The simple solution here is to send out stimulus checks to those damaged by the current crisis. Blast on remedy the mass and will help them not become a burden on their families and Mexican society as a whole. In the end, the president wanted the package finished as soon as possible to address the crisis, so the men once again had to come to our decision. Let's create bold action. Let's create the long-term fund. I think that makes most sense to me anyway. It gives me Norway vibes with their, their fun thing that they have built up with the oil. And let's go to the Tabasco solution now. While many of our governors flare about their provinces salvaging what remains in the wake of the crisis, one has stood out for the remarkable recovery of his state, Carlos Madrazo of Tabasco. Dubbed the Tabasco approach, his popular recovery strategies earned the attention of millions. His influence in the left wing of the party is remarkable. Bringing him on to help nationwide seems to be a matter of if, not when, lest we let Kabuki get the better of us. Get some support from Madrazo for the DFS, which is going to be huge. We need that desperately. So let's... Do we want to click this? Given the danger posed to a federal district by Salvador Nava and his followers, President Lopez Mateos has ordered you to gather units from other military zones and defend the capital from attack, said Jose Gomez Huerta, chief of the Presidential General Staff. General Luis Gutierrez Oropeza will be supporting you as attaché from the Secretariat of Interior. I'll click that. We'll monitor their paper trail as well. General Marcelino Garcia Parangan nodded and began to recite, with a thin smile, the units he planned to pull forward and where they would position to address the synarchist threat. At the table's corner, another otherwise stone-like figure watched the proceeding with fire in his eyes. Secretary of National Defense, Agustino Leche, had bile in his throat as he stared down the man now entrusted with national defense. Parangan, who betrayed his Villista fellows in the revolution after Celaya broke their back. Barragan, a failed governor of Jalisco, deposed for his insufficient loyalty to the party. Barragan, who nearly launched a coup after leading the leftist Herrenquista movement against Supri a little more than a decade ago. Barragan, a general only readmitted from the army in 1960, who now turned to Oleche over respectful. And your thoughts, Secretary? Has our revolution truly fallen so far? Yeah, shit, I guess so. I'm gonna go ahead and leave things there for now, though. Thanks always for watching. Like if you liked, dislike if you didn't, leaving comments or feedback down in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get, and I appreciate any feedback you might have for me. Check out my various links down in the description box below, leaving comments or feedback as well. Hit the sub button of the notification bell for uploads weekdays as well as occasionally Saturdays. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave things there. Thanks always for watching, my friends. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.